All right. And I will also share this with the Discord. One second, switched up the TikTok account. Go live. 3, 2, 1. All right, hey guys, how you doing? I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. This is actually maybe the first time I've ever gone live on this TikTok channel, but I figured I would today since I had a viral video going about Tucker Carlson and that whole situation. And I was actually really encouraged by the firing, and what I had put out was that the firing of Tucker Carlson was a really good thing. And I realized that when I had gone on to Twitter. And I went on to Twitter and I saw Tucker was fired. And then I saw all of the conspiracy theories, right? Conspiracy theories? I saw all of the conspiracy theories about Tucker's firing. And some of them were related to, electoral stuff, right? And people started bringing up, let me see, I want to do this correctly. You see the color of this hammer? Rock. The color of this hammer, rock. I have to talk around these things, unfortunately, but I find creative ways to do it. I mean, the color of this hammer, rock. So I started seeing the conspiracy theories, and they were related to that. And people started pointing out that that company held a 15% share in Fox News. And they're saying, well, was this why Tucker was fired? And for the first time in a long time, even mainstream people were asking the right questions. See, I'll get the trolls in here. They'll say fake news, or they'll say, they're emotional. They don't like Tucker Carlson. They don't like Fox News. Or on the other side, the people that, I love Fox News. I love Tucker Carlson. I don't have an emotional connection to any of these people. I think they all have Pinocchio noses. Tucker says more true things than most mainstream pundits, but, he still worked for the beast. You work for the beast and you're limited by the beast. So people started asking the right questions. They started asking the right questions. Who owns Fox News? Right? Because when you start breaking this stuff down and you say, which news media is giving it to me straight? Which news media is lying? If you want to understand that, it's not about who you like. It's about learning how to track the money. And this is what I do. This is what I teach students, that if you want to understand news media, you have to understand where the levers of control exist. I'll get Melissa on the job. My people are telling me I need mods. Let's see, comment. Moderators. I don't know, I can't add you, Melissa. All right. Let's go settings. Moderators, add moderator. I don't know. I'll deal with them. They're annoying. Or I'll just do this. Block them myself. So anyway, when you want to start to analyze the news media and who's in control and who's not, what you really want to do is start tracking the money. What you really want to do is start tracking the organizations that the people in charge of news media affiliate with, because ultimately that's who all of these people are subservient to, right? If there's someone that has the ability to fire you from doing your job if you say a certain thing, and your job is to have opinions, to say certain things, right? well, then by the very nature of that, you don't have the autonomy to say what is true or what is false. And when I saw people, it sucks. I started doing that, looking for the mod thing, and I lost it. Everyone was watching, just left. They were like, oh, this guy's just trying to set up mods. Well, whatever. I don't care. I'll talk to my people. So the Tucker situation was a really good teachable moment. A really good teachable moment in that people were finally asking the right questions. Because when you start looking into it, you realize that there is no truth in mainstream media. I mean, sure, they'll say some true things, but you'll never get the full truth because that's where the levers of control are, the levers of power. How do you view the media from a systems level? And that is what we work on teaching our children, right? We want them to understand how the world functions from a systems level. And that's true for media, that's true for medical, that's true for military, that's true for government. What is the interconnectivity between the government and between industry, right? How are they intertwined with one another, between social media and between government, right? I mean, we all saw that TikTok was called in front of Congress, right? And TikTok gets called in front of Congress, and their CEO has to go and answer questions. And you say, why does that happen? Well, why was Facebook brought in front of Congress? Why was Twitter brought in front of Congress? Well, it's the reason they say, because don't you know it's the Communist Chinese Party. Oh, come on. I mean, you know how intertwined America is with China? Come on. Oh, it's because they're spying on us. Oh yeah, Facebook's not spying on us, right? Facebook's not spying on us. Instagram's not spying on us. Come on. You got to work harder than that. It's because, well, one, for lobbying, right? I mean, the first reason would be that Facebook lobbied for that to happen. But the reason that all of these companies get brought in front of the government is because once the government brings these companies in, and they sit them down in front of Congress, they get leverage over the companies. These are levers of control. These are mechanisms of control. And then that leverage can be used to make a deal, right? These are negotiating tactics, right? When you're selling a house, right? If you want to get $400,000 for that house, well, you better list it at $450,000, right? Because then if they negotiate down, you actually got the price you wanted. Well, that's how it works on a big level, and you see it play out right in front of you. All of these things are systems. All of these things are levers. So when you see Tucker Carlson fired from Fox News, and I don't know why he was fired. I don't care why he was fired. That doesn't matter to me. I don't view Tucker as any idol. Sure, he did say more true things than the average mainstream media pundit, but he was still beholden to the beast system, and maybe he went against someone in the beast system, and that's why they got rid of him. But either way, that just shows what it is, right? It's like, oh, so all of these years, he wasn't ruffling enough feathers for them to fire him, but now he ruffled the feathers and they fired him. Everything about it proves exactly what I'm saying to be true. So I don't really care about Tucker Carlson. I have high hopes for him. I think if he does go out on his own, maybe he could actually start really saying true things, which would be super cool because he has a big influence. But when you get to that level, I don't really trust any of these growlers. They're all. I don't trust them. I don't trust anyone that's been paid $20 million a year by Rupert Murdoch. Come on. So. And I know that will trigger people to say, but my idols. Well, stop making people idols, right? I always tell people in my homeschool community, right? I always tell them, don't ever make me an idol. Don't ever, that's not how you view the world. It's just, That's one of the worst sins in the Bible, right? You get the majority of Americans, they idolize people. Shall be no false idols. No false idols. So people are seeing that BlackRock controls 15% of Fox News, and people will say, oh, 15%, that's not a lot. You have no idea what you're talking about. For when Elon Musk was doing his original rough takeover of Twitter, he had 9% of it. It's a tremendous amount. It's about leverage, right? And you have a lot of financial leverage when you own 15% of a company. I mean, you could tank their shares overnight. I mean, that people just don't see. They don't understand how these markets work. And it's a good transition because it comes down to markets. So BlackRock has the ability, I said it, they have the ability to tank a company overnight, right? So you say, okay, well, what do they push? What do they stand for? Well, one of the things they stand for, and if you don't believe me, look it up. Type in Fox News ESG reports. Fox News ESG reports, because they file them. Fox News files these reports. And they do that because they're owned by the company that demands every company files these reports. So they file these ESG reports, and these ESG reports stand for environmental, social, governance. Isn't that a very interesting combination of words? Environmental, social, governance. ESG. So what? So they file these reports. What does that mean? Well, everyone talks about social credit scores. They say, oh man, the digital dollar's coming. I don't want to have a social credit score. I don't want the bank to be able to shut off my money because they don't like my opinions. And my God, you should know they don't like my opinions. They definitely don't like my opinions. I remember one of the creepiest things I ever encountered was I came across this list. It was a big pharma list, and it was early during the situation. And there was a list they had of about 8,000 people that they had identified as being a problem. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Let me see who's on this list. So I got my hands on it. And then I started searching through it. And I was searching and I was searching and I was searching and I said, oh shit, that's interesting. I was on the list. And I said, man, that was creepy. Man, oh man, oh man, that was creepy. So yeah, the banks, they don't like me. Social credit scores. Well, I'll get back to Crowder. Remind me though, because I'm going to forget. So the banks, they don't like these. The banks don't like me, and no one likes social credit scores. Well, this ESG is a social credit score for corporations. Why is every corporation in America woke? Right? Why does Oreo sell children changing their natural? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Altering their natural, right? Why does Oreo sell that? Right? Why does Bud Light have the ad that it recently had? Why don't these companies care? Why do they do these things? Why during the 2020 presidential election? And again, I think presidential elections are a joke. People say, anyway, I don't want to trigger too many people, but I don't think Trump's all he's, allegedly, claimed to be, right? I don't think, I looked at that and I saw a man who shut down my country, brought in socialism, and became the number one salesman of something that is truly tyrannical, the thing that I was on the list about, right? And I see the guy selling it everywhere. I'm like, oh man, this isn't the guy I thought he was, And I have a free enough mind to realize that. But anyway, so you have all these corporations and they're pushing BLM and they're pushing that thing. They take the thing, they put it in your arm. Every corporation in America. How can that be? How can that be? Well, there are social credit scores and there are corporate credit scores. And when you have companies like BlackRock that have the ability to overnight completely tank your stock, they have a tremendous amount of leverage over you. And they have the ability to, even if you are boycotted because the financial markets are all rigged, they're pumping fake money into this stuff anyway, they have the ability to keep you afloat and say, no, you do this and you'll be fine. You'll get through the boycott and you'll do better than ever. And these corporations, dead, they're soulless. So that's what they do. They sell out. They don't have a soul to sell, so they just sell us out, right? They can't sell their soul, so they sell you. They sell me. None of them are. It's all a stage performance. Yeah, more or less. I think that a lot of people that get into politics, they probably try it at first, and the system swallows them up and they become the very thing that they hate. And then most of them are. I have a friend who's high level with spy type stuff, and the stuff that Snowden showed us is just the beginning. And it's like these agencies and these groups, they're constantly just getting leverage over everyone. Just like we're talking about financial leverage, they get other types of leverage, right? That's what that's what the whole thing with Epstein was about, right? Leverage, right? ESG, environmental social governance, leverage, right? The corporations, if they don't play ball, right, with the agenda, then there could be financial repercussions for that. Everything is leverage. So you have this ESG, environmental social governance, and so those are an interesting combination of words. And environmental means corporations that are responsible in helping deal with climate change, right? So basically what that means is, because these are global groups, are corporations that are falling in line with the World Economic Forum, with the United Nations, with globalist bureaucracies that operate outside of government, because, well, really they become the government. They use these levers, these mechanisms, this leverage to gain control over governments, right? Or, over countries that they don't have jurisdiction to do so. So you have these bodies. So now you have the ESG, and they're using that to get everyone in alignment with Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, and these globalist bureaucracies. That's the environmental side. Then you have the social side, and they don't even have to tell you what the social side is. We know what the social agendas are, right? They make sure you can't criticize them because they put them in a protected class, right? That's right. When you're in power and you're trying to get something through, you make it very difficult to criticize what your agenda is, right? Just like if you ever want to know who's in power, just figure out who you can't criticize, right? That's where it's so funny, because you'll get people that are like, oh, it's this that's ruling the world. It's, this that I have right here, I'm ruling the world. Well, all you have to do is turn on the television and say, oh, the screen constantly bashes on that, right? The screen constantly says that's the problem. So that's not the problem, right? And this is just really basic critical thinking. But, when you get to liberal woke people, they can't even see that. That's just how it is. They can't even see what's right in front of their eyes, what's obvious. So they push the social agendas. You know what the social agendas are. And they push the environmental agenda, and they're using that to bring in the agendas of the UN, of the World Economic Forum, of the Bilderberg Group, of the Trilateral Commission, of the Council on Foreign Relations, and all of these are just global think tanks designed at consolidating power. And yeah, sure, there's power function. There are different groups that vie for power amongst each other, but in the end, they're making sure they have the power and they're taking it away from you. So when we teach our children this stuff, and this is why the Fox News thing was such a great was a great event with Tucker, is you want to teach them to start to understand the world from this systems level. Because when you understand it from a systems level, you could start to see, oh, I understand why Bud Light does that. I understand why Oreo does that, right? What's wrong with ESG? Everything's wrong with it. Environmental social governance. It means that your behavior has to be in accordance with the psychopaths at the United Nations or the World Economic Forum, or they'll take away everything from you, from your business, from your country, from... by the way, they'll never control my business like that because you have to go public for them to have that type of control over you. And that's why we slow build. That's why my funding comes from you, the people, right? That's why I don't take investment money. That's why I don't take money from the bank, right? Because if you do that, they can't get the financial leverage over you, but it just takes longer to build, right? That's why I get frustrated. I get so many people who join, they'll cancel for 2 months, rejoin, cancel for a month, rejoin, and they're like, oh, I'm trying to save money. And I'm like, yeah, but when you just stay put, it helps me build, right? It helps me build. But anyway, people have been trained to lose. So people will spend $20 a month on Netflix and they'll boycott Bud Light even though it does nothing, because if they understood the ESG, that's why the boycotts don't work. But they don't fund Andrew Torba, right? And it's like, you win by supporting the things that could be built parallel to the system. And until more people understand that, it's always an uphill battle. But don't worry, we will win. It just takes a little bit longer. Well, that's the other thing. Like, I love to trigger socialists and I love to trigger communists. The truth is that really all governments, at least empires in the modern world, are fascist. They call it, right? They call it the Communist Party in the Far East, right? But if you actually look at how they function, they are actually fascist. If you look at the American government, it's more fascistic. It's partnerships between governments and corporations trying to gain leverage over each other, and the financial system trying to gain leverage over, really it does have leverage over the entire thing. So most of the powerful empires are fascistic, which makes sense if you understand, in terms of efficiency, right, of how to how to gain power. It's it's a very efficient system, and the powers that be will do what's efficient. Yeah, but I do love triggering the socialists and the communists, because whenever I post something and I mention them, every one of them, they can't help themselves. They come in and they say vicious things to me. They'll be like, "You are such an idiot. You're so dumb." Just nasty things they say to me, and they're not smart enough to understand how algorithms work. So it's like, yeah, when you do that, you just make sure that my video keeps getting shown to more and more people, right? You understand that? They don't understand that. I'm not going to tell them. I mean, They're just not that smart. When I don't like someone's video, I just give it 0 watch time, I give it 0 comments, I give it 0 likes, and then it just fades into the algorithm. See, they want to harness your hatred. I need to do more of that to sell some books. This week I posted 2 videos on @RealBrettPike. By the way, go to @RealBrettPike, like, comment, share, and watch. Do all 4 of those. Help me get those out because I was trying to sell some books. Oh my God, you capitalist. You are posting a video to sell some books? Yeah, why wouldn't I try to sell my books? Yeah, I posted 2 just book sale videos on that account this week after I haven't done that in the longest time. But yeah, get at that. Do that. Yeah, anytime I really need to sell some books, I try to piss off socialists or communists and they just send me forward. How dare you? I don't know. I don't know. How dare you? Like Greta voice. How dare you? How dare you? I'm no rocket scientist, but if you're taking your political advice from a 14-year-old girl, you might not be thinking that deeply. Where do you get your worldview from? There's a 14-year-old girl. Come on, man. You gotta think harder than that. Oh. Did you hear what Greta said? And by the way, I love Greta. Don't rip on Greta. She is hilarious. One, she probably believes it because she's just been, they used her, they groomed her, that they did. But, Greta is a phenomenal actress. She's going out there, she's, faking things. I'm a big fan of Greta. She's my favorite actress. And I think it's a travesty. That she has not gotten a Grammy. That's what they say, right? That's how they act. Greta. So anyway, the point of this talk is that we want to teach our children to see the world from a systems level. We want them to understand how all of these different financial agencies and corporations and institutions and non-governmental organizations, right? Governments, how they all interact with one another, how they gain leverage over one another, and what mechanisms are pushed to get certain things to happen in the world. And when you start to see the world from a systems level, it becomes a lot easier to see through the nonsense, right? And then you say, well, all right, so if you could see through the nonsense, and by the way, anyone who gets really emotional about the things that I'm saying or don't you know, you're probably still a baby truther. I know. I've gone through these things too, I was out there. I was like, we need to, expose the Rockefellers, I was there once. Don't you know? You're getting angry at theater. You're baby truther. Baby truther. You need to mature. Mature like me. Into a grown-up truther. And then you start to realize, well, where is my power? I do have allergies. I didn't think they were flaring up right now. So where is my power? Where is my power? Your power comes from how you live your life. And this is what we teach your children. This is what we teach our children. Your power comes from not being in debt if you can. And I understand that's, I'm not knocking anyone who is in debt. We all need a house and we need cars. But to the best of your ability, you try to live out of debt. Right? You try to live out of debt. You get married. You stay married. You have lots of children. You homeschool your children. You raise them right. Yeah, that's probably not my allergies. I have OCD for sure. My wife says I'm probably on the spectrum, and I would agree with that. I said my issues are probably more OCD, but, allegedly, see, I do it. I don't care. Allegedly, I also talk like this, by the way. You don't see it with the camera, but I'm I'm Italian. I'm Italiano. I can't talk without my hands. I'm like, how am I supposed to think without moving my hands? Am I in the Bertaria community? I am Bertaria. Of course I am. Allegedly. You don't become me without a slight degree of OCD and, allegedly being autistic. Come on. So my wife says. Yeah, I have kids. And God willing, I'll have many more, because people talk about, oh, they want to win. Hold on. I thought I did follow you, Melissa. I'm getting text messages. Melissa's yelling at me. I don't see your comments now. All right. No, I am following you. I don't know why. I am following you. Let's see. Hold on. Melissa needs to block the people that are annoying. If you're annoying, just leave, because I can't block you yet. Hold on. Settings, moderator. See, it's an autistic thing to say, right? You're like, why are you calling them annoying? All right, add moderators. Melissa, you're not on there. And I'm following you. You know why? I don't think you're following. Are you following me? It says we're not friends. Well, that's the thing, Wish you were my history teacher. I can literally be everyone's history teacher. That's what I do. I put together courses and I teach the next generation this stuff. That's what I do. And, I think the mothers in here will attest, in spite of me being a little unhinged on here, with the kids, I'm actually very straight to the point, and I'm a very positive influence on a lot of young people. No, you cannot join my live stream. Absolutely not. We're not doing that. I'm having fun today. I needed this. I've been stressed out this week, man. I've been stressed out this week. I've been on the cusp of making forming a big business partnership, and I've been dealing with lawyers and tech guys, and I have a tremendous burden with putting together the classes that I teach every week, putting together the lesson plans, running the company, and then sometimes that gets drained out of me when I'm dealing with the tech stuff and the legal stuff and all of that. I had to make the sundial lesson that I posted today, which, by the way, is fire. But it was 10:30 last night, and I was just like, I can't do this right now. And I went to sleep. I woke up. I set my alarm. I woke up at 5 a.m. And then I woke up refreshed and started doing it. But the stress of all that, dealing with attorneys and tech people and everything else that comes with it, it kind of zaps my energy for the lessons. I think Nicole could say she saw that. I was just, usually I'm so upbeat, and I was a little oh man, I'm getting beat up here. But, that's being successful in life. Life is going to hit you and hit you and hit you. And you got to be resilient. You got to be resilient. You got to be disciplined. You got to be consistent, right? You got to be able to get through these things, because not every day is going to feel like, oh man, I want to get up and do this. And I love what I do. It's an understatement when I say, see, now I'm just Italian in your face. It's, it's an understatement when I do what I, Cubs to Bears books, where can I buy them? Now that is a great question. Yes! ClassicalLearner.com. You could find all my books. I've written 7. I've actually written 10, but I published 7. That B book I started writing? I was so mad. I must have wrote 50 pages. I don't know if 50, but it was a lot of pages. Like I had it in the notes, so I don't know how many pages it was. But I started writing like a small, like almost novel type book, and I don't know what I did with it. I don't know. I started writing it on one of the iPads, and I lost it. I don't know where it went. I was writing the B book. It was really good too. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Big Pharma doesn't like me. They put me on a list, and they checked it twice. They're gonna find out. All right. I did get some of the bottom of the fence done. I did. Well, that's the thing. We don't like, yeah, we need more of me in the population. Yeah, we need to clone me. No, but what we need is just people to take personal responsibility. Get out of debt, get married, have lots of children, raise them right, homeschool your children, don't let them be indoctrinated, learn your rights, teach them their rights, which is why I taught a class, which is still available. I have a course on the Bill of Rights and American Revolution. I'm currently teaching a course on the Constitution, which is going fantastic, by the way. I am currently, allegedly, starting negotiations with someone who just might be able to teach the affidavit, notice of liability, conditional consent stuff that I've been wanting to do for so long, because I have all of these amazing documents that I got from Crow 77, Crow 777 Radio. Shout out to them. If you don't follow Crow 777 Radio, you should get on that, because absolute legends over there, including Jason. If you're listening to this, Jason, shout out. Good guy. Had the pleasure of meeting him in Missouri. But Crow hooked me up with all of these documents for the kids, and I'm just trying to get the right teacher to, because we're really teaching people how to use their rights. We're not messing around. Hey, wood floor alchemist. I know. I haven't been going live as much, but I need to do it more. I know. Yeah, so get married, have lots of kids, learn your rights, have in-group preference. Like, instead of buying from people that hate you, buy from small businesses of like-minded people. Like, especially around the holidays, around Christmas, support small businesses. Be a good neighbor. Know 10 of your neighbors. By name. Build community. Start businesses. Hire your friends. Right? For example, I had someone build me a new user portal and a new website. And I could have gone to some big company, right? But I went with someone that I know who has a small business, and by the way, that's worked out 10 times better for me, because they have been more hands-on and more valuable to me than any big business ever could be, right? Are you still working with Woodshop? No, Woodshop reached back out to me and said that his back was giving him too many problems, and he couldn't do it. So I was pretty bummed out about that, because he has a tremendous knowledge with carpentry. But I'm gonna find someone else to teach the course that Woodshop was going to put together. I just need a good person who, I don't want someone who's not as knowledgeable now, because I had someone who was like a real expert in that field. Stumbled upon your page, love your content. Why, thank you. Make sure you follow at Cubs to Bears and at Real Brett Pike, and make sure you watch, comment, like, and share all 4 of those, all of the videos, because that helps me reach more people. And anyway, we're going to educate the youth, and people always talk about, oh, I want to take my country back. I want I don't want everyone to be so woke. Well, I don't know. There is this guy who's been building an education company from the grassroots level who is awake, allegedly, because as soon as you think you're awake, you're probably sleeping like a baby, who is awake, allegedly, at least in that direction, that vicinity, moving the right way. But I'm not being supported by the New York Times. I need you guys to support me. So do that. And Melissa is doing clips. I know these people asking me to live stream. I don't want to live stream with these people. They had a mask on in their profile picture. You think I want to live stream with you? What's the value in that? Okay. I don't know, Melissa. We are friends on here. Oh, wait. All right, Melissa's a moderator. Confirm. Melissa, you're a mod. So obviously Melissa was right that whole time, by the way. I knew she was right the whole time. I just had to keep going with it. All right. As long as they know more than the student they're equipped to teach. Yeah. I just, I had someone that was a really good woodsman, and unfortunately that fell through. We have the Seneca Nation in the house. Do you like me or hate me? All right. Keep rocking, brother. B-Rock and V-Guard, the ultimate capitalist. Are you saying you don't like capitalism? I'm a capitalist, but I don't lie about it. Capitalism has been, people always talk about how communism led to over 200 million deaths in the 20th century. And what they forget to mention is that capitalism also led to over 200 million deaths in the 20th century. Oh my God, how can you say that? What are you talking about? Look at the war in Iraq, right? All of these wars, right? Wars fought over oil. The world wars, people don't understand this, but the world wars more or less were fought over trade, control of trade routes, right? So a lot of this colonialism, imperialism, everything that these chemical companies do, and the food industry, and what they, and how they have a revolving door with the FDA, all of that is capitalism, right? Now, the school system teaches children to be socialist and communist, but that's because the big capitalists at the top want that. And I know people are like, what are you talking about? They want all of you to be socialists so they can control you, and they want themselves to be monopolistic capitalists. And that's how the system functions. So it's like, am I a capitalist? Am I a socialist? I'm a realist. Your power doesn't come from these people. And ultimately, the flaws, even with socialism, communism, capitalism, the biggest flaw is our own lack of morality. No matter what the system is, there's going to be corruption, and there's going to be a lot of people that are taken out by the system, right? But people are put into this false binary, right? It gets into you'll get oh, are you pro-union or anti-union, right? You're a capitalist, you hate the unions. I don't know, the unions have done a lot of really good stuff in the world. Child labor laws and, safety standards at factories. And, I might rip the FDA, but I do like that I could bite into a hamburger and not die, right? The FDA will allow you to slowly be intoxicated over 20 years, and then you get the mean C word, and then, okay, so I'm aware of that. I could take personal responsibility. I grow my own food. But I like that the FDA, stops me from, croaking when I bite into a hamburger. Now, so, that's a federal agency, good and bad sign. Like a union, they get you good labor laws, right? That's good. But then the union became big union, which is just like big corporate, right? And now the big unions destroy education, right? They destroy, they start to become too powerful, and they take over the industry, and then like the mob runs it, So, yeah, I mean, am I a capitalist? That's like, I'm against Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030. The Environmental Protection Agency is corrupt, but, I wouldn't want a world without an Environmental Protection Agency, right? And people are like, oh my God, how can you say that? Well, we just had that talk on capitalism. They're willing to slowly poison your food over a long period of time. What do you think they'd be willing to do to your water? I mean, look what they do to the water. And that's with these things in place, right? So it's like, the world is more complex than the simple worldview, the binary worldview that they give to the majority of people. And they want you to have that worldview. Because then they could pin you against each other, and then they could achieve all of their agendas, and people don't even see it. Baby truthers. So which economic system do you support? Personal responsibility. I mean, obviously, capitalism, because capitalism allows you upward mobility in this world, which is a great thing. But you have to understand, with that, there comes a lot of corruption, and it's okay to also have checks on that capitalism, right? So, you get into like communism is authoritarian to the point where the government becomes so powerful that it's like they could just squash you like a bug. That's not good either. So, I support capitalism, morality, some checks on that capitalism. Like, oh, you're not giving me a straight answer. Well, I'm sorry, but most people's worldviews are like, I don't fall into a box. It's not a system. What's a system? What's a system without morality? That Ye sing about that? It's like, it's like, what's a man to a king? What's a king to a god? What's a god to a non-believer who don't believe in anything? By the way, I have more inside knowledge about Ye than I have had an inside look at Ye, and the entire industry, like the entertainment industry, that 99.9% of the public will never see. I was actually 2 nights ago, I was on the phone for an hour with my buddy Adam, who spent 6 months following Ye around, filming a documentary. Then Ye dropped off the face of the earth. He went to Africa and got married, and he came back, completely different person. And I don't want to spill the beans too much about it anyway, but anyway, like that MK Ultra stuff, yeah, brother. Like, I learned lessons. I'm glad I've had insight into this stuff, because, I got to carry myself in a certain way. I got to keep myself away from certain people. See, I got a socialist. See what I talk about? These people get so triggered. Like, how are you going to stop capitalism without socialism? I told you, you're going to do it with morality. That's how you're going to do it. You're going to do it with morality. You don't have to enforce morality. See, it's not force. It's morality in that I only do business with people who are good people. I run a company and I don't work with big companies. I work with very small businesses I know who have values that are aligned with mine. And when I buy people presents, I try to buy them from people that have values that are aligned with mine. When I put my money into things, it's not beast system things. It's not the NFL. I support Andrew Torba. I'm barely on Gab. I don't even really Gab, and I send him $100 a year, right? Because morality. That's why. You think, you're like, oh man, you know what we need? We need, the government to come in and really shake stuff up. But like, you're not realizing that the government's not going to shake things up in your favor because the government, like a corporation, is a dead entity, right? Like, oh, well, the government can really, they can come in and take care of social media companies, right? Like they, if Twitter's out of line, the government could step in. No, the government is Twitter. Twitter is the government. What are you talking about? Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, right? There's no getting around. It's not a system. You're brainwashed into thinking it's a system, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, and the government could regulate stuff like, yeah, I'm for an EPA, right? So how do you regulate these corporations? Well, you do it with an EPA. But didn't you just say the EPA gets corrupted? Because the problem is morality. Do you understand? Yeah, we're not as different. We're not that different from China, actually. We have very similar in a lot of ways. Brilliant, brilliant username. You're not that brilliant. You don't enforce morality, you live morality. Yeah, that's just what you want. You want the government controlling everything we do. The same government the same governments that just imprisoned everyone in the world for 3 straight years, right? The same governments that are actively pushing agendas that are in alignment with the dictates of the writing on the Georgia Guidestone. I worded that in a specific way because I don't, you have to be careful how you say things. Right, to the World Economic Forum and the United Nations. That's who needs to have all the power, right? It's not a system isn't the problem. Capitalism isn't the problem. Socialism isn't the problem. Morality is the problem. I'm not a laissez-faire capitalist, but I'm not dumb enough to be like, oh, we don't want capitalist principles. And then you come in here talking shit where I probably run. You're like, oh, what would you do? I literally run one of the most moral grassroots businesses in the world. Not in America, in the world. I run one of the most moral grassroots businesses in the world. You know how I do that? I don't take loans. By the way, you want to know how you regulate morality? You make usury illegal. When banks give loans to businesses, it should not be based on interest. They should be financially tied to those businesses, and if the businesses don't make money, the banks don't make money. And then they would give sound loans, right? By the way, these are Islamic principles that I'm discussing to you, right? The Bible is also against usury, right? So if you want to regulate morality or legislate it, that's how you do it, because the problem is the banking system. I have the ability to take loans. In fact, the banks call me all the time and like, you're making money, you want a loan? I get that call once a month. You want that loan? I don't. I haven't even taken investments. So your solution to corruption is morality? Hello? Hello, McFly? Yes, my solution to corruption is morality. I run one of the most moral grassroots companies in the entire world that I have built up from the grassroots level with my blood, sweat, and tears. And by the way, you want to hear something crazy? A lot of that is motivated by capitalism, because I know if I do a good job, I could provide a very good life for my family, which I have, by the way. Oh my God, that's so wrong. What do you mean? What do you mean? You own land and have a house and have chickens? Yes, and I've earned them. I've earned them with a very moral grassroots business. What is grassroots? Grassroots is me working a 9-to-5 job, sitting on a dock, looking out at the water, and saying, I think I could start a business. And then I went on to social media and said, hey, if anyone wants to homeschool, I could set up your homeschool for you. I'm a teacher. It's my background. And then people started hiring me to do that. And then I said, wow, I was shocked by how many people wanted to hire me to set up their homeschools. So I was like, man, I have a little business here that I've kind of, I didn't realize it would take off like this. So I was like, all right, let me see what I can do. And I was like, well, how do I scale it? Because the problem was my time. Because when I would do these consultations, I would spend hours and hours and hours working for one family. So I was like, all right, well, I could raise my rates. And ultimately, my rates, by the time I was done with that, got to $300 for an hour. And people, since then, I've had people offer me thousands of dollars for a consultation, and I turn away the money, and I tell them to pay me $15. And then I give them the consultation that they would have paid thousands of dollars for free when they're in my community, because I'm hilarious. So then I was like, all right, well, how do I scale this? So what I did was I said, okay, I have to create an internet platform so I could put all the information in one place, and then the people you put all the information in one place, and people could come to that place and get the information. And I made Homeschools Connected, and that's what that was, and that was scalable. See, I did the business models, my time was limited, but the internet model was scalable, and that's why I did that, because I said, okay, I could scale. Right? That's capitalistic. Then I said, wow, we're getting people. Why don't I start making original curriculum? And then I started making original curriculum, original courses, original lesson plans, original unit studies, and that just scaled up, and people kept joining, and now I teach classes with children whose parents pay me to teach classes for them. And I make lesson plans every day. I'm starting to hire people that that I have an ideological connection with, that we see the world in the same way, moral people, and that's how you do it from the grassroots level. how do you enforce morality? I just said that. You don't want to hear it. I said that you ban usury. And by the way, don't say you can't enforce morality. What do you think Sharia law is? It might not be the type of morality that you adhere to, but literally Sharia law, which governs large parts of the world, is a legal system, enforced morality, right? It's the Arabic, it's the Muslim form of morality, right? That's what Sharia law is. It's enforced morality. And by the way, they don't allow usury. What are you talking about? How do you do it? How do you do it? You ban usury. But how do you do it? How do you do it? You ban usury. And you don't have to, it's not about enforcing, I mean, sure, if the government wants to enforce morality, depending on, what they're talking about, like banning usury, I'm all for that. But ultimately, it's not about enforcing it, it's about you. Look in the mirror. It's you. Take out a mirror, look at it, and then live a moral life. Only buy things from people that you believe are good people. And if someone's not a good people, don't ever spend money on it. Get married, be a really good husband, a really good wife, have children, raise them right to be part of a community, build community, grow food, give it to your neighbors for free. One of my favorite things I ever did was I planted 50 lettuce seeds, and then I walked door to door and I knocked on my neighbors' doors and I gave out 50 little lettuce plants to my neighbors. A lot of people who I hadn't even met yet. And I wound up forming relationships from doing that. You don't have to enforce morality. I mean, it should be enforced to a degree. But, right, and if you say, oh, so you're saying you have to enforce morality? Should murder be legal? You're literally live in a land which has enforced morality. That's enforced morality. Should stealing be legal? You live in a land where there's enforced morality. The only question is, to what degree should morality be enforced? And in my opinion, to a much, much, much steeper degree. Put it that way. Like, someone asked if I'm libertarian. I mean, I respect you libertarians, but no, I am not libertarian at all. That better? I am not libertarian at all. Why are we tolerating all of the skin that is shown in public that our children have to see? Why should our children be subject to seeing skin on a billboard? That should be capitalism regulated, yes. It should be illegal to have promiscuous, suggestive images in public and on television. Oh my God, how can you say that? I don't care. People like, oh, I'm so conservative. I'm so angry about, the story hour at schools and Bud Light. Well, how do you think that happens? Because no one draws a line in the sand. Because there's not enforced morality. Oh my God, you can't enforce morality. Should murder be illegal? So you're for enforced morality. This is America and of the free. Really, what were the laws during 1776? What were the laws? Freedom's a political principle. It's not that there should be a parade in the street where men should be able to bend over nude in front of where there's children walking. That's absurd. That's absurd. A high enough degree of freedom is slavery. It's why conservative states, like in the United States of America, can't even protect their daughters in a bathroom because there's no morality. Do you know that if you go back to 1950, that hotels would not allow a man and a woman to book a hotel room together unless they were married? 1950. It's not that long ago. Hotels would not allow a man and a woman to book a hotel room unless they were married. What do you mean? What do you mean? People weren't having promiscuous relations outside of wedlock. All of that has been done by the big capitalists pushing Marxist doctrines on America. Like, what do you mean? The big capitalists. Read books by Anthony Sutton. What's the name of the book? Anthony Sutton, where he talks about Rockefeller visiting the Soviet Union in the height of the Cold War. The world is a theater. It's a stage. They want big capitalism at the top, and they want socialism at the bottom. Marxism at the bottom. And that's how they control everyone. Your solution is theocratic government. Are you against murder? Should it be illegal? Then that's enforced morality. You already live under it. America after 1776 was enforced morality. Those were the laws. Look at the laws related to promiscuity. Look at the laws related to relations between a man and a woman, what had to do with marriage. That is the foundation of America. And with the boomer generation, right, they threw everything that was America out the window because, they brought in a new version of America, a new version of freedom. And that's the hell that you live in today. Understand where you were, where you came from, and how you got here, and you would understand what America is. Yes, enforce morality. You know what? I mean, we can live in... what do you think is better? This is one of my favorite mental exercises, because what is better? That our children can't go to school. And by the way, you guys have no idea the horror stories that I keep confidential that parents tell me every week about this stuff. Horror stories. I have like a look into this like most of America doesn't. 99% doesn't because of what I do. Would you rather you send your children to school and they're exposed to a naked adult in school doing, you guys know what I'm talking about, or you go to the Middle East and they don't tolerate that at all, but everything has to be conservative? What's better? I know which culture I think is better. Now, do I think we should be as extreme as the Middle East? No. Should we have enforced morality? Yeah, you better believe it. Yeah, I mean, the Middle East, that's why it's so funny, because the West is like, we have a moral high... I said, you do? You can't even protect your children. There's no moral high ground in the West. I was born in Bactaria. By the time I had seen the lights, I was already a man. This is America for the free. Stop it. No, it's not. Like I said, up until 1950s, you could not even book a hotel, a man and a woman, unless they proved they were married. That is not America. That is the Marxist transformation of America that, to no fault of your own, you grew up in. I understand you think that's America. That is the collapse of America. That is what they used to destroy America, to destroy the American family unit. Look up the origins of feminism, the funding from the Rockefellers. It was the destruction of the family unit through the pushed promiscuity on the American public. Yeah, what's not illegal is permitted. A lot more things should be illegal. Murder's a legal issue, not a moral one. Okay, why? Why? Tell me why. Tell me why it's a legal situation, not a moral situation. Oh, because you're allowed to do it in certain situations? All right, killing. Why is killing have a legal line? Where does that line come in? Get back to me when you look in the mirror and realize the answer is because it's a moral line. Yeah, Americans can have any religion. That was also a founding principle of America. That's a good principle. I know the Middle East is the Quran. I've read the Quran. It's a beautiful book. It's a beautiful document. Muhammad, peace be upon him. Ugh. At the playground, there would be a box of trucks with, she said, strippers, plastered on the side, barely covered, and no way to prevent the children from seeing it. See, in my America, the people that put those stickers on the playground would be charged with the crime, and they would go to jail. All right, you say, oh, my freedom, okay. You could put those stickers near a children's playground? No, you can't. Thanks. I'll choose morality. Enforced morality. No, I don't need to move to a theocratic nation. I'm building my nation. No President Pike. Oh, yeah, with the ice cream. Yeah, I don't want that job. Oh, did you guys see? I don't understand democracy. I don't understand democracy. Well, first off, we don't live in a democracy, right? So you don't understand democracy. You don't understand America. We don't live in a democracy. That's the answer. Beekeeper gets it. We live in a republic, a constitutional republic. I mean, imagine telling me I don't understand democracy as I stand here by chance with a constitution in my hands. This is our government. This is what freedom looks like. And the 50,000 page stacks paper laws are what tyranny looks like. We live in a corporatocracy. That's kind of accurate. Corporate bankocracy. Non-governmental organization. Yes, a republic is a representative form of democracy. But it's not an accurate statement to say we live in a democracy. Right, a republic means your God-given rights are protected. Democracy is mob rule, right? It's the Constitution. So it's moral. It's theocratic, right? Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. But somewhere we forgot along the lines that thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. And we need to get back to that. America was always a republic. Now America is an empire. It's the American Empire. Yeah, you're right. There's multiple types of laws in the United States. Private and public, and don't worry, we're teaching the kids. Don't worry, it's coming. I mean, I would take a theocracy over what America is right now. You can't stop children from going to a playground without seeing strippers on stickers and billboards. It's fine. Listen, go on your computer, keep watching your XXS films, you know, eat your red dye 40 and your soy, drink the fluoride water, and repeat doctrines. My freedom. Yes, I do have. I am the CEO, founder, president of the Classical Learner Homeschooling Company. You can find it at www.classicallearner.com. Just click Join Homeschools Connected. It's $15 a month. I teach courses, both live and pre-recorded, and I also have a curriculum, lesson plans, unit studies. Well, you gave me a false binary, Darwin's revenge. You said, would you rather live in a theocracy or what we have now? I said a theocracy. That doesn't mean I want to live in a theocracy. You gave me a binary. I answered your question, right? It was a false binary. What my statement is that America should be governed along a more moral line, right? Usury should be banned. Public displays of promiscuity should be banned. It should be illegal. And say, oh my God, how can you say that? Okay, let me ask you this question. Oh, intellectuals, please help me. Should a man be able to walk into anywhere, but use your imagination of which place would be the most inappropriate? Should just a random man be able to walk somewhere with no pants on and just go walk in there and, sling his thing around? If your answer is no, which I'm hoping it is, then you agree with me that public promiscuity should be legislated along certain moral lines, a very weak one on your case. Because if you agree that that should be legislated, all the question becomes is where's the line? And I think the line should be right at the beginning to stop our children from ever having to see that type of nonsense. People don't think these things through. They're like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean make public promiscuity illegal? Okay, should a man be able to walk into like Chuck E. Cheese, with his sling, with his ding-a-ling hanging out and just flopping it around? If your answer is no, then you agree with me that promiscuity should be legislated. So then the question becomes, where is the line? Well, I think the line is that under no circumstances should a child who is walking in public be subject to seeing any type of promiscuity. That's where I think the line should be. And conservatives are like, oh, my freedom, my freedom, my freedom. This is why you can't protect your daughters in a bathroom. This is why. Oh, but don't you know America? No, I do know America. I know that in the 1950s, you could not rent a hotel with a man and a woman unless you had proven you were married. That when my grandmother was here, no one would even dare show an ankle, right? I do understand America. You don't understand America. You've come up in this bubble of cultural Marxist nonsense that if you look into the origins of it, is designed to break your country, to break your children. It is designed to break your children. That's the function of it. That's the purpose of it. No, Darwin, you did give me a binary. You said, would you rather live in this country or a theocracy? I said a theocracy. That doesn't mean I want to live in a theocracy. That means giving two choices. This is why I teach a logical fallacies class. That is called a false binary, black and white, logical fallacy. What I said is that America should be governed more along moral lines than it is now. Then I established that everyone in this chat doesn't believe that you should be able to walk into a Chuck E. Cheese with your dong hanging out. So then we agreed that promiscuity should be legislated. So then the question becomes, since we all agree, is where should the line be drawn? I think the line should be drawn at children's little innocent eyes should never, in a public place, be subject to seeing promiscuity. That's my line. That's not America, it's freedom. No, we established that when 1776 happened, up until 1950, a man and a woman couldn't even rent a hotel together unless they proved they were married. No one tolerated promiscuity out of wedlock. That wasn't tolerated. Women didn't show more than an ankle. That's America. No, the boomers destroyed America. My generation is going to bring it back. No, my thoughts about the character of America are the results of going to public school, living through all the nonsense, going through an awakening, realizing what was happening years ago before what I call baby truthers woke up, seeing the root of the problem and saying, okay, the root of the problem is morality. People are like, oh, the politics are the problem. No, the politics aren't the problem. Politics are the direct result of the breakdown of culture, right? You get the politics, you get the can't protect your daughter in a bathroom, right? Because the culture first breaks down to a degree that the public will tolerate the politicians allowing that, right? You understand? So politics is downstream from culture. So you say, oh, okay, so the culture is the problem, which is why they work so hard to control Hollywood. They work so hard to control all the social media. They try to control the culture, right? Culture's the problem. Then you say, wait a second. You're right. Politics is downstream from culture. What is culture? Culture, like the culture of everyone wanting to buy things, like they like to buy products that have naked women draped over them, right? Right? The culture. That's downstream from morality. Because that culture only comes into place when the morality breaks down enough that people tolerate that type of behavior. So then you say, wait a second, if culture is downstream from morality, because remember, like when Elvis was dancing and shaking his hips, great-great-grandparents said, this is highly inappropriate, you shouldn't be watching this. And their children said, no, you're squares, right? Remember that? They said Elvis is terrible. We should not be allowing our children to see this. And everyone said, shut up, they're your squares. The morality started to break down. And then it gets to the point where you can't go outside without seeing a half-naked female straddling a hamburger. Culture is downstream from morality. So what happens is the morality fell, then the culture fell, and then the politics fell. Which is why they worked so hard to break down the morality. Which is why these ideas are so foreign to a lot of people. I'm like, oh my God, how are you saying these things? Because I'm not a baby truther. Because I'm done with people are like, man, the New World Order, they're taking us, blah, blah. Oh, we got to stop this. Rise up, patriots. Oh, please, what does that even mean? You're not going to do anything. You could only beat that. You could only beat what's happening. You could only protect our children and the next generation with morality. That's it. Nothing else will protect them. Libertarianism isn't going to protect them. Anarcho-capitalism isn't going to protect them. Conservatism certainly isn't going to protect the next generation of children. Morality. Because when you understand the breakdown, that politics is downstream from culture, and culture is downstream from morality, right? Every Christian in America, and non-Christian, right? Every person in America should cancel Netflix. That's the truth. America tolerates the culture because they're not moral. Tolerate the culture because they're not moral, and that results in the politics. Politics, culture, morality. In that order. So if you want to fix the politics, you have to fix the culture. And if you want to fix the culture, you have to fix the morality. Capitalism, socialism, morality. Morality. By the way, www.classicallearner.com. If you vibe with what I'm saying, get in my homeschool community. It's $15 a month. In fact, even if you don't and you want to support what I do, it's $15 a month, and we are giving children an education that matters. And we're teaching them to understand this, to understand the Constitution, to understand the Bill of Rights, to really know how to defend those rights, and then how to live a life worthy of freedom. And that's what we're doing. Thanks, I'm about to sign my child up now. Awesome. Well, Darwin's Revenge, if that was your exact quote, then I apologize for accusing you of the false binary. See, it's not that hard. If I got it wrong, I just say, I was wrong. My point still stands, though. Yes, I'd rather live in a theocracy over the current state of American governance because it's horrific, but we don't have to go to that. What I want is the American public to become more moral and then demand that the politics happen among more moral lines, because that would happen. The politics, that's why when you hear America is a land of the consent of the governed, it is. America is a land of the consent of the governed. If the politicians received enough anger and pushback from enough of the population over, not being able to protect your daughter's bathroom, they would protect it, you see? I want America to become moral enough that they demand the culture change, and then the culture change demands the politicians govern along a more moral line. Like, I don't know, making sure I can go to the store without my children seeing a woman straddling a hamburger. Hey, there's a concept that works. You're going to bring back America through a theocratic dictator. You're a scared little man. No, I got clear eyes, brother. I got clear eyes. Who are you to criticize Iran's government? And what do you know about Iran? I'm sure you know so much about Iran. Who are you to criticize Iran's government? And no, I wouldn't want to live under their government. They have their own culture. They have their own morality, their own culture, their own government. And I know you're like, oh, well, don't you see the rebellion? Do you have the slightest idea of how the world works? There are certain governments in the world who do not comply with globalist banking policies. And then the globalist bankers use the armies of the West, the militaries of the West, the intelligence agencies of the West, to infiltrate, provoke, and make things look a certain way, right? You see? You can't protect your daughter in a bathroom or your children in a school. You have no ground to stand on to criticize the morality, culture, and politics of a country across the world that you do not understand. And no, I don't want to live in Iran, right? You see? I come from a different morality, right? You understand that? But I'm not criticizing them. They are free to live and govern how they want. Don't you know? Don't you know? I'm a scared little man, right? Well, what am I? You're trying to put me in a box. I have nothing but respect. I told you I read the Quran. I said, Muhammad, peace be upon him. I said, I have nothing but respect for the people in the Middle East. You can't put me in a box. Lost my spot. Promiscuity should now be illegal, right? Keep laughing. Keep laughing. You are so right on B-Rock. Melissa the Troll Slayer. All right, I've given you your chance. If you keep commenting, you're banned. I mean, this comment, seeing a woman straddling a hamburger is not a moral issue. Oh, God. All right, you're not allowed to comment again. You're banned. I forgot. Don't argue with crazy people or you're the crazy one. Whose morality? Christian morality. Yes, America allows freedom of religion because Christians are very tolerant. We should allow freedom of religion. But America is a Christian nation. It's not Judeo-Christian values. America was founded on Christian values. And if Christian America, which is the largest portion of it, restored its morality, then yes, the culture would quickly change because the money would change for the corporations, and then the politics would change. And then, and then it would be corrupted in a different way, and the fight would have to go in a different direction. The fight's always moving. You understand that? That could become too tyrannical too. I'm well aware of that. But right now, America needs a desperate push back in that direction. That's it, Nicole. You're going in a veil. I'm getting you a hijab. Cover those ankles. Yeah, it's all good, Darwin's Revenge. It's not that hard to admit you're wrong in this world. It's not a big deal. Like, who cares? I get things wrong all the time. Yeah, capitalism is a horribly corrupt system. That's why I'm like, oh my God, so you're against socialism? Capitalism is just as corrupt. It's all corrupt. Exactly. We're nation building, and that's what matters. No, women should cover themselves up for women not to sin, not for men not to sin. Men should not to sin for men not to sin. You shouldn't be, men shouldn't be applauded for being players. They should be socially shamed for being players. Like, if you're 28 years old and you're going to the bar and sleeping with a different girl every night, like, I don't want you in my community. I don't want you in my town. I don't want you around my children. You should be shamed away. Get out of here. That was understood in America for a long time. Like, if a man was like 33 and he wasn't married, people were like, oh, what's wrong with that guy? You know what they would say about him. And that's good, by the way. You protect women by not tolerating that behavior from women or men. You cut it out. I tell you what state I'm in, but a lot of crazy people threaten to hurt me. Many of the same people that condemned Elvis beat their wives. what kind? Oh my God! What kind of like ad hominem attack is that? Don't you know that many of the people that condemned Elvis were white? What? All right. What? Tell me your position. Tell me your position on something. I don't care what it is. And I'm just gonna say, don't you know that many people that hold that position are wife beaters? Don't you know? Don't you know that there are people that think that who are wife beaters? Oh man, that's hilarious. Don't you know, bro? Don't you know? I don't know, I lost my spot. Ooh, Coley wants to mod? All right. Let's see, you want a mod? All right, you are now a mod. You are a mod. By the way, this is why I don't. This is one of the reasons I don't like to stream as much, because a lot of the people you have to deal with are like, they think they're righteous and they're like really deranged people. Like, they'll hate me for like the things I'm saying right now and everything I stand for. And like, they would willingly hurt me very badly because I don't agree with them. And then they'll call me totalitarianism, totalitarian, which is like hilarious. But I got told my homeschooling is causing my children to be unsocial. I laughed. Yeah, I do the same thing. People have no idea. All right. There's people that think that who are wife beaters. What is that? That's the result of people watching mainstream media, where like no matter what the talk is, they just do ad hominem attacks. Well, don't you know there's people who think that are really bad people? You could literally find a thought about like anything in the world, and you could find a bad person who thinks that and be like, don't you know that bad person thinks that? It's not an argument. It's not an argument. Yeah, well, I have a course on the media industrial complex, so that's like what prompted me to do the video. Sounds like sexuality is the apex of morality for you. Why put that? Why put that above everything else? By the way, Darwin's Revenge. I like you, so don't mind that I'm like making fun of you a little bit. That means that's how men bond. Like that's no big deal, because it's the center of the attack. Because what they wanted to do was to break down the American family unit, because the American family unit is the backbone of America. And by pushing the promiscuity, pushing sexual liberation, they were able to, and then through laws with making divorce really easy and then normalizing it, showing it on all the shows, they were very effectively able to disintegrate the American family unit. And then once that happens, it makes the children very vulnerable. It's the same reason why they started pushing for women to work, because they wanted to tax the entire population instead of half of it, and they wanted to get the children out of the homes so that they could mold their minds, right? It's the attack on the family. It's the whole thing. Everything that's falling apart around you is a result of that. So that's why it's the most important thing. Age 4. My homeschool curriculum starts at age 4. My 7-year-old wants to own a business. Well, start letting her do business type things, like a little kid, photography, lemonade stands, making jewelry and selling it, stuff like that. Wait, get out of here. Hold on a second. You're saying that I'm not all-knowing? Did you just say that I'm not all-knowing? This is the comment. Look at this comment. This guy, while being smart, he is not the all-knowing. I'm not? Yeah, I know. Oh, wait. Do I know? I don't know. No shit, Sherlock. I never said I was the all-knowing. This is my microphone. Like, you're on my channel. I'm going to give my opinions. The people that know me in person, you'd be surprised. I'm actually rather quiet. I listen a lot. The all-knowing. Where does Highianism fit into all of the Highianist corruption? Earlier I was talking about how if you want to know who's in power, figure out who you can't criticize. It's a big deal. But again, ultimately, morality can combat that. Nicole was all over that. We don't claim to be the all-knowing. First mistake was allowing non-Westerners to be in positions of power. Yeah, I do think that if you have dual citizenship with another country, you should be barred from political office. Miroc 1987. I am, however, all-knowing. The American insurance industrial complex. Well, that's a great point you brought up. A lot of people point at the corporations, and a lot of people point at the banks, but the insurance companies are, in many ways, just as powerful or even more powerful than the banks. Which, by the way, you can use to your advantage. Like, for example, a police officer tries to harass you. If you're able to affect his qualified immunity and go after his insurance, it becomes a big problem for him. But the insurance companies are able to leverage a lot of these corporations because anything they won't insure, like, for example, the jabba jabba ding dong, we gonna bing bing bong thing, like, there are financial incentives for doctors from not the pharmaceutical companies, but actually from the insurance companies to have rates that are, to make sure a high percentage of their patients are receiving that treatment, right? So it's like these companies have a tremendous amount of power over a lot. So yeah, the insurance industrial complex is a big deal. Fox News spreading fake news to corrupt us all. That's what's happening, bro. I mean, I think what you said is true. I don't think we agree with it for the same reasons, but that is true. Yes. For the record, I said, you're like, oh, you turned red. I literally said who you're not supposed to criticize. I mean, I made it rhyme. I said Hyanism. Okay. I mean, I'm like, I say what I have to say without stepping on landmines because I'm not dumb, you know? Doesn't mean I don't say it. Just said it. We are being gaslit by the elites while they create the infrastructure for the global control. Yes. But imagine it like a chessboard now. So they're gaslighting. The elites are gaslighting. They're building infrastructure. So you come along and you say, stop doing that. And they say, we're not doing that. Stop doing that. We're not doing that. That's gaslighting. Stop doing that. We're not doing that. If you keep saying stop doing that, don't you deserve to lose? Because if it's a chessboard, you should be building your own infrastructure. Right? We should be building our own social media companies, Gab. We should be building our own networks of like-minded people. Beartaria Times, our own culture, Beartaria Times Magazine. We should be building our own education system. Classical Learner, Homeschools Connected, that's my company. You have to build parallel systems to their system. And the funny thing is, they don't stop you from building parallel systems, but people are trained to lose. So instead, they're like, oh, we're being gaslighted, and then they just keep yelling about it. Why? You have to build parallel systems. Indika, I know I triggered you because I made fun of you, but like, come on, you're embarrassing yourself. You in the nation building game, right? Laugh out loud. First of all, I hope you're a woman because that's feminine behavior. Like laugh out loud. Like toxic feminine, not like the good feminine. The toxic version of like toxic masculinity, it's the version of toxic femininity. You know. I have books written, but I've been so busy with the homeschooling, I haven't done anything with them. Thoughts on racism? Irrelevant. Insurance companies are the most illegitimate mafia that's ever existed. Yeah, they're a big deal. Did you pay for ads, brother? Because every 5 videos is yours. That makes me happy, but no. In fact, I think, they give me a fair shot in here, but no. But that makes me happy to hear. I bet you're in a nation of morons. You guys can block Indika.x. You could have an opinion, but you don't call my people morons. You're gone. You don't get to talk to my people like that. By the way, the circles of people that I associate with are so impressive, it's remarkable, just so you know. But all right. Like my friends like build alternative social media sites, start websites, like they're just amazing people. Amazing people. I'm not walking a thin line. I said it's irrelevant. I said racism is irrelevant. I didn't say it doesn't exist. I just said it's irrelevant. They abused it. They abused it and used it as a weapon. So now it just has to be ignored. They used it as a tool of political intimidation. And because of that, you just got to get to the point where you're like, F off. Don't care. Fox News and CNN both drive an agenda. The fact that people think one is worse than the other is laughable. Exactly. That's why I told that guy before. I was like, I think, he was like, Fox News is bad. And I was like, I agree with you. I don't think I agree for the same reasons. Yeah, those are just like animal pens, right? Like different animals. Like if you have chickens and goats, you need different pens for chickens and goats. Well, you have like liberal Americans and conservative Americans, and those are the pens. And then they pin people against each other, and it's like shaking up a beehive. It makes it people easy to control. Yeah, my homeschool curriculum is for kids. Kindergarten through grade 12, lesson plans, unit studies that I make, and then courses that I teach myself. How do I build these systems? You start small. You don't try to be, you don't just try to jump to the top of a mountain. You start with baby steps. So, let's say that you want to change music, right? Well, maybe you start making a little bit of music on your own. You start building a platform in which you could host the music of other talented musicians on it. You start recruiting specific people that can help you grow the platform because they're popular and you could provide value to. And then you just grow from there until eventually you look up and you have like this really cool music platform. That's just, I kind of did that with education, right? I started from the grassroots level with consultations. Then I built a community where parents could meet and talk. And then I started building curriculum, right? You just step by step, you start building infrastructure and in whatever area of expertise you have. Yeah, people are trained to lose. Do I teach the Big Bang Theory in my curriculum? We haven't got that far. I myself, I do not believe in the Big Bang Theory. Will we cover it eventually? Yeah, I want to cover everything, but we'll also cover other theories, right? So, no, I think the Big Bang Theory is nonsense. I don't indoctrinate. We cover everything. That the goal is when we're fully built out, I'm 15 months into building the curriculum, we will cover literally everything, and we'll teach what the theory is, why skeptics of the theory think it's nonsense, and then we'll teach other theories as well. But yeah, I don't shy away from things. Of course you could join at 34. You should get in my classes. You'll love them. Mr. Classical Learner. All right. Did I catch up? I might have caught up. Good, because my voice is getting tired. How do we create businesses, schools, communities? You start small. You start with a little small business. I mean, it depends on your area of expertise, but I'd have to know what type of thing you were knowledgeable about. Um, you know, you don't need that many people to support you to get a functional business going. Um, people like, oh, a business, I'm not going to be Nike. You don't have to be Nike. Just start small. And do it as a side hustle. So what you do is you do your job, and then instead of coming home and watching TV at night, commit to 1 hour a night, no matter what, that you start working on a business. And you won't know where that's going to go at first, but you'll start to see that 1 hour nights start to become 6-7 hour nights. And before you know it, you'll have built a little side hustle, you grow it, and then let it bloom into a business. I stay uneducated on politics. The result, I'm generally happy and fear nothing. Yeah, people think I'm like all up in politics because I'm knowledgeable, but I don't follow that stuff much at all. Because once you could see through the lie, it's fine. You step away from it, you could see it better than the people that are in it. It's like they're in the forest. It's like you can't see the forest through the trees, right? And like they're staring at this little tree and they think it's a forest. But when you step outside, you can see the whole forest. How do you see samples? I mean, I don't know. It's $15 to join. I mean, if you join and you don't like it, just cancel. But what's my thought on Kanye being woke? So yeah, one of my friends 2 nights ago, I was on the phone with my buddy who spent 6 months, 6 of the last 8 months following Kanye around, making a documentary for Kanye, or Ye, I should say. I don't want to be disrespectful to Ye. Making a documentary for Ye, and he went to Africa, Ye, and that's where they separated. And when he came back, apparently he was not the same guy, and I'm just going to leave it at that, because I don't know if it's my business, but yeah, Ye's a good dude, but they've done a number on Ye, but he's a good dude. Like a bunch of my friends are like close with Ye, are real close with Ye. Like I said, just 2 nights ago I was on the phone with a guy that literally followed Ye around for the last 6 months. When Ye was with Alex Jones, doing that last interview we did with Alex Jones, my buddy was literally standing right there with the camera filming the whole thing. I just went like that. They were like, oh, Illuminati. That's really just my OCD, see? Illuminati confirmed. That's hilarious. What's my background? I have a bachelor's degree in history education, a master's degree in special education, graduated with a 4.0 GPA, worked in the field of education for about a decade, started a homeschool company. No, I'm not libertarian, and I respect you. I respect you, free living bastards, but no, I'm not libertarian. Why is your question being blocked? I don't think your question's being blocked. I don't know. It's always a nightmare when there's a divorce and one of the parents doesn't want homeschooling because the courts always rule with the parent that wants public school. Dude, I like you, but I disagree with you so much of what you've said. We could have respectful, rational debates. Yeah, I told you, I like you, Darwin's Revenge. And like I said, when I'm making fun of you, don't take it personal. I just, before the internet, when everyone was triggered about everything, men just kind of make fun of each other and it's all good. Where do I dig to find the real histories I teach? Well, I read a lot, but specifically what I read is I read a lot of autobiographies and a lot of primary accounts from people who were actually at historical events. And then I teach my understanding of history, and I don't care who that triggers. I know, Melissa, they're going to run with that one. Are you Illuminati? Sincere question. My personal answer has been, who gives a shit? I have been accused of being Illuminati a lot on the internet, and it's taught me a lot about, because you watch these truthers and they're like, Illuminati, Freemason. I'm like, wait a second, I've been accused of being Illuminati, and I know I'm not Illuminati, so, people run with these narratives. And then I went like this for an itch, and I saw myself like this, and I was like, oh God, here we go. And it was as I was talking about Kanye or Ye. So I'm I know the inner circle of Ye. I don't know. I find the entire thing to be funny, so. I'm definitely wrong about the Big Bang. How sure are you that I'm wrong? That's a bold claim. It is. In fact, it's not called the Big Bang. It's called the Big Bang Theory. How sure are you that I'm wrong? Oh yeah, Google stinks. Google sucks. Yeah, so Homeschool's connected. Basically what I do is when you sign up, you get access to our user portal. And our user portal has all of the lesson plans, all of the unit studies, and all of the courses that I've created, or if I brought anyone in to create them for me. Thanks for the hat. So you get into the user portal, and then it's broken down by K, elementary, middle school, high school. So let's say your child's in elementary school. You click on elementary school, and then it's broken down by subject, whatever it might be, art, crafts, English language arts, science, different subjects. So you click on the subject, and then it's broken down lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, lesson 5, to the end of the sequence. So that's how we break everything up. It's completely at your schedule. You could use it or not use it as you wish. It's completely your schedule. We don't cover everything, but what we do cover, there is not a company like mine in the world We are teaching children to really understand the world from an institutional level, to see the world from a systems level, the interconnectivity between government, between media, social media, the medical industry, the levers and mechanisms that are used to control these industries. And then what we're doing is the lessons are designed for everything is hands-on. So all of the lessons are like hands-on. The science is actual science experiments that you're doing with things you already have in your house. Like, you'd be amazed how many great science experiments you can do with ice. So all the lessons are hands-on. The science, for example, is every lesson is the scientific method. They're making observations, formulating hypothesis, identifying the independent, dependent variables, setting up controls. Everything's hands-on. The STEM projects, we have great STEM stuff, which are designed to teach both critical thinking and engineering. And we have three goals. We want skills. We want we want critical thinking. We want the development of skills like carpentry, engineering, reading, writing, art, right? We want skills, be able to do things. And then we want entrepreneurial experience. So what we do is, as the children do these projects and develop skills, we actually have guidance to different entrepreneurial things that the children could do, or you, the parent, could guide the child to do, embedded into the lessons. So everything's about critical thinking, skill development, and entrepreneurial experience. And then we have the courses that I teach. And the courses, they're broken down by subject matter, like propaganda. I teach a course on propaganda, a course on the Bill of Rights and American Revolution, a course on logical thinking and the logical fallacies, the Native American study and the history of the Iroquois study, the U.S. Constitution, which I teach live classes on every Wednesday right now. So you get access to the courses, and then those are broken down, lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4. My courses are usually like 13 to 20 lessons, and then I cut the course and start a new one. So that's how everything's broken down, and it's $15 a month. So, I mean, the value is worth way more than $15 a month, but that's what I charge. It's $15 a month, and people love it. So, hit us up. And by the way, when you do that, you're not only getting access. By the way, I never raise the price on anyone who's a member. So if you're paying $15 a month now, if you stay in the program, it'll be $15 a month 10 years from now, right? So I never raise the price, but what we do is we constantly add more value. So like, I just spent a ton of money building our new user platform, and now I am bringing in people to help with content creation, to put together courses. So we're going to have more and more courses coming in, and the price never goes up. You're just getting more and more value. So that's how I set everything up. We've been doing it from the grassroots level, and we're going to keep doing it until we make a big, big impact in this world. Yeah, DuckDuckGo is compromised, which is upsetting to me because I have ducks. I have ducks. You know, funny story about DuckDuckGo. So before I had decided what I wanted to do, I was very talented at writing, and I had started a small venture called WriteYourSales.com, and basically I was just offering my services to basically write blogs for people because I'm a talented writer. Now I'm an Amazon #1 best-selling author. And DuckDuckGo had an opening for their international director of marketing that I came across. So I put in an application, I wrote up this whole thing, and it got their attention to the point where they reached back out to me and they were like, we got to speak with you. And I spoke with this guy at DuckDuckGo. I was like, this is what I do. And he was just like the balls on you. And I was like, that's right, baby. And they didn't give me the job. But it taught me a valuable lesson. And this is what I teach children too, is the theory of access. Your value isn't what someone else says it is. Your value is what you demonstrate it to be and what you believe it to be. And the only limitation we have, like you're like, oh, I can't apply for that job. I don't have the qualifications. I don't have the degree. Bullshit. Yes, you can. Kick down the door and get the job you want, or get the position you want, or get that contract, that business contract you want. Kick down the door. Are you a part of the Masons? No. And yes, I've been accused of that as well. Hi, baby. Daddy will be done in a little bit, okay? What are you doing with those shoes? Uh-huh. Cubs to Bears, written by you. Yes. I am the author. Hi, baby. If you truly go down the rabbit hole, you won't be able to deny God. Yeah, I actually found God. Years back, I wanted to make a difference in the world. See, I've done a lot of interesting things. I want to make a difference in the world. And one of the initial ventures that I tried was FFR News. And basically, I was doing undercover journalism. I made some big-time reports that like really went viral. I made a whole investigative series on the murder of Seth Rich, which like went crazy viral. I since had to take it down because they started suing everyone. So I was like, I don't know, get out of that. But I did like cool stuff like that. So anyway, I was doing an investigative report into Jerry Sandusky's activities. You know, the Penn State coach that was a PED. You guys get it? And in my research, I found that he wasn't a lone wolf. He was actually part of a network. And the craziest thing was, because I wasn't trying to do this, is the network, I tied it all the way back to Bill Clinton's wife. Right? So anyway, this like the stuff I was finding was really, really, really dark. Really dark. And like I don't even want to say the stuff that was involved in this. Like I was disgusting world we live in with some of these people. And I was looking at this, and I remember sitting there, and I thought, I am looking into the eyes of the devil. And at that moment, well, I started looking in the eyes of the devil, and at that moment something dawned on me, that God must be real, if the devil is. And at that moment, I had the warmest tingle take over every fiber of my body, unlike anything I had felt in my entire life. And at that moment, I knew God existed. And that week, I started studying the Bible, and I started going down a spiritual path, I'll say. And there is no awakening until you realize that the battle is spiritual. And that's a true story. That was my experience. So some people dipped out on that story. That, oh my God, how can you say that? You know, people who are like, God is not real, right? Like, I'm not telling you have to believe in my God, right? But like, you know, people who are like, God is not real, it's like blind people, like a whole group of blind people looking at one person with eyes and telling him that like there's not a bird in the sky. He's like, there's something flying in the sky. And they're all like, They're all like, yeah, you're crazy. You're crazy. No, we're not. You just don't have eyes to see. That's all. And I love you, and I hope you get eyes to see, because what you'll find is that God loves you. And like, people associate religion with, like, you know, their Catholic priests that diddled them when they were kids. Like, you know, that's the devil. That's the subversion of God. But like, God is not a religion. God is above religion. Like, people don't get that. God is above religion. God is the beginning and the end. God is the Alpha and the Omega. God operates outside of time and space. God created this place. Like, people ask me about the Big Bang Theory. You can't create something from nothing. That's nonsense. And like, it's so obvious that if you weren't indoctrinated with it from the time you were a child, you'd know it's obvious. So there was nothing, and there was a big explosion, and then there was a whole lot of something. And not only was there a whole lot of something, but there was beautiful order. Beautiful order. Planets aligned with each other, suns and moons. And out of that chaos came that beautiful order across the universe. And out of that, there became living organisms. Right? Oh yeah, you know, bolts of lightning kept just hitting the earth, and then boom, there was life. That's a nonsense story. There was a creator. Now, you want to tell me that the creator isn't the Christian creator, or the creator isn't the Islamic creator? Give it. They believe in the same creator. People just don't understand that. Okay. But to say that this like atheistic religion of science, right? Like, oh, that's the way. No, you've been indoctrinated. That's a religion. Like, you understand? That's the religion of science. It's not the scientific method. It's the religion of science. The Big Bang Theory is nonsense, right? Right? What is like the second law of physics is that everything breaks down. So how do you explain the universe? The entire universe violates the second law of physics. You don't get all of this something from nothing. That's absurd. It was created. And atheists know that. And that's why, like, what you'll get is like, oh, it's a simulation. It's a simulation. You get that crowd. All right, what are you talking about? You're just giving another explanation. You're saying it's a creation. But you don't want to say it's God because you have a bias against that. Fine, you know, but don't lie to yourself. We're not here by accident. You're not just like endlessly flowing through space and you'll die and turn to dust. Like, you have a soul. You're eternal. And the thing is, once you get eyes to see, you can tap into that soul. Like, you can feel that soul. You can tap into the source that's in you. Right. You know, I hope everyone has to go on their own journey, and, you know, I wish you all nothing but the best in yours. And, you know, it's okay to believe what you believe, or don't believe what you don't believe, because that's the thing. Like, that's why it's called the soul's path, right? You have to walk your soul's path, so to speak, and you'll end up where you're supposed to end up. So you could use DuckDuckGo or Brave. So I just make different lesson plans every day. A lot of them are actually unit studies. Like, a lot of the lesson plans that I release are unit studies that you do over multiple days. Some of them are quicker, but like, they're very extensive hands-on unit studies that I produce. Like this morning I did the sundial lesson. So basically the children take a stick, they put it in the ground. At 7 a.m. they go outside and the stick makes a shadow and you put a stone on it. At 8 a.m. you repeat, 9 a.m. you repeat. It's called a sundial, and at the end of the day it looks like a clock. The ancients used to use these as clocks. And what they learn is that the sun is a clock and you can use it to tell what time it is throughout the course of the day, right? And then the next part of the lesson is to do reading on the history of sundials. So they're going to read about Egypt, they're going to read about Babylonia, right? The history of sundials. And then a writing assignment in which they do a creative assignment where they pretend they're stranded on an island and how they use the sundial to their advantage. And then the next day, they are to make breakfast and lunch, spend a day in nature with family, no technology, and they have to bring a pen and a log activity sheet, and they have to log what time they ate breakfast, what time they ate lunch, what time they saw that blue jay, using the sundial, right? And that's the activity. So that's like probably a 2 or 3 day activity between the research, the activity, the making of the sundial, and that's one lesson plan, right? So it's not like typical school. I'm an unschooler at heart, so like my activities are very hands-on and creative because that's what I believe in. Yeah, Google bought DuckDuckGo. Yeah, see, like these trolls will be like, have you heard of Dominion Energy? Because a lot of the trolls on the media video I made were like, don't you know BlackRock owns Dominion Energy, not the Dominion voter situation? And they think they like owned me there. Like, you might be right about that. I don't. You might be right about that. I don't really care. The point of the video wasn't you don't understand the point of the video. It wasn't about the election company. It was about BlackRock having an ownership in Fox News. That was the point of the video. You see, I might have got that wrong. Again, it's not that hard to be like I got something wrong. Oh my God, you don't understand the video. The whole point of the video is that. And this I know I got right because this I looked up and I did a lot of reading on beforehand, is that BlackRock recently purchased a 15% share of Fox News. And then the video went on to explain that when you're evaluating mainstream media, you have to evaluate where the money comes from. And all I did was I used the Tucker Carlson situation as a vector to get people's attention to talk to them about systems thinking, which is understanding that the media, right? BlackRock owns 15% of Fox News. 6 corporations control 90% of all of the different television networks and the Hollywood studios. So you think you have choice, but choice is actually an illusion. It was a talk on understanding systems. So you like think you're owning me, but you didn't even understand the point of the video because you're so lost in your tiny little political world where you think that the politics matter, right? You think that's where your power is, but it's not. You're brainwashed. You're used. You're a pawn on a chessboard. People keep trying to put me in a box. You don't understand me. You don't understand me. You see? You're coming at me. You're not, I mean, you guys are coming at me. You're like leftists. You're not even truthers. So like, you're so lost in the world. It's not even, but even like most truthers, like your babies, you gotta step back. You gotta see the forest. You're looking at trees. You're looking up at the sky and you're telling me there's no bird there. You don't have eyes to see the bird. Where am I? I hate when I jump and I lose my spot. It's really annoying. My kid has been online school for 2 years, and it's not been great. Glad I found your page. What is he using? K through 12? It's terrible. Like, no, you should be looking at what I do. You should be looking at Good and the Beautiful, Classical Conversations. Like I said, mine, Classical Learner. You should be in mine regardless if you're using others or not. Like, mine's unique, but don't use K through 12. That's not where it's at. We have the Bear books. Love them. Yeah, you know. Yeah, I had to use the Tucker situation as a vector to have a bigger conversation, right? But you're looking at the tree. You don't see as a forest. Yeah, NASA's a bunch of liars, obviously. What do you think? Government agency that gets $57 million a day? Yeah, they're lying. You better believe it. Oh, people. I want that pie. I want that pumpkin pie. I know, don't eat it all. They're going to eat all the pie before I'm done with the stream. Hi, baby. Hi. Yes, religion is different than spiritualism. I like that. Yes, I am a homeschool. I run a homeschool company, and in that I teach courses. Can I explain my thoughts on ESG investing? Yeah, the Classical Learner YouTube channel is also streaming this. So this is going to play, the replay will be available on the Classical Learner YouTube channel because when you live stream on YouTube, it reposts automatically. The beginning of this talk was all about the ESG. It's environmental social governance. And it's a form of investing in which companies like BlackRock leverage money over companies, right? Where like, if you're not being environmentally responsible, then we'll pull investment money from the company. And when you're talking about the ability to control large percentages of shares, they really have the ability to crash the market value of these companies. So it's how that works. Yeah, Gather Round's a good one. I don't know, Texas seems cool. All right, guys, this has been a lot of fun. I am exhausted. I didn't plan to go this long, but it was a good talk. It's a good talk. I ran with it. So, all right, www.classicallearner.com. Homeschools Connected. It's $15 a month. You get access to all the stuff I've told you about. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. I'm one heck of a history teacher. All right, guys. And this is from Melissa. I'm exhausted from this. Been screaming for 2 hours. All right. Bye, guys.